Welcome, I'm Bruce Munro, and with me is International Relations Specialist Professor Robert Patman, and this is Global Insight. The line between sports and politics was blurred again this week when the Ukraine football team angered Russian politicians with a map that includes Crimea. Not sure what all that's about? Let's find out. Welcome, Robert.
Morning, Bruce.
What is the significance of this map that is on the jersey of the Ukraine football team?
Well, Russia annexed Crimea, that territory, and is also involved in eastern Ukraine since 2014. And that's not been legally recognised. So UEFA approved the jersey that the Ukrainian footballers are using for the Euro 2021 tournament. And that's caused a storm of anger in Russia, which they consider Crimea, and also some parts of the Russian-speaking part of eastern Ukraine to be also parts of Russia, but certainly the Crimea. And it's under Russian occupation. And so they were very angry by the fact that they thought the Ukraine was deliberately being, from the Russian point of view, provocative.
Why in recent months has Russia amassed 80,000 soldiers, I think it is, near the Ukraine border?
This has been part and parcel of a long-term Russian military involvement. Russia and Ukraine have been at war since 2014. More than 13,000 people have been killed in this conflict. And as well as the annexation of the Crimea, Russians have been involved, sometimes in what's sometimes called hybrid warfare. Russian soldiers not wearing uniforms involved in fighting in the eastern part of Ukraine, where there is many people of Russian origin living in the Ukraine and Russian speakers. So the country, there have been attempts at peace. There was the Minsk Agreement of September 2015, I believe. That has failed to halt the hostilities. So there's been that sort of, grumbling insurgency in eastern Ukraine, which has accounted for a lot of lives. In addition, Mr. Putin in April moved, as you said, something like 80,000 troops close to the borders of Ukraine. The regime in Moscow said it was an exercise and no more than that, but many of those troops have remained in place since then. And it's an attempt, I think, using hybrid warfare to put pressure on the Ukrainian government. It may also be a way of testing the new Biden administration, which is taking a much tougher line towards Russia than Mr. Trump did. There may be other reasons why Mr. Putin has deployed these troops in this way. I think it serves a multiplicity of different purposes.
Who or what could Putin be afraid of?
Mr. Putin's got a lot of problems on his plate. We've already mentioned that this war has been going on for more than 6 years, 7 years now. That's had a very bad effect on the Russian economy. Almost within 12 months of the conflict in the Ukraine between 2014 and 2015, something like in excess of $150 billion left Moscow in capital flight. The Russian economy has continued to be sluggish. It did return to growth after about 3 years of zero growth in 2017. But again, it's in trouble. We've just learnt from Russian statistics, actually, that the Russian economy lost about 1%. It contracted by 1% in the first quarter of 2021. So, in a sense, there's an economic motivation for perhaps stepping up the pressure and whipping up feelings of nationalism. It's a bit of a distraction from some of the problems at home that Mr. Putin is facing. I think Mr. Putin's economic problems are long-term now. It's an economy which is dependent on the export of fossil fuels. Unfortunately, that takes us to the second factor, and that is the price of oil has been in decline. And when your economy is geared to the export of oil and the price of oil fell, that's bad news. So there's economic factors and there's also political factors. Mr. Putin's arch rival, Alexei Navalny, of course, went on a much publicised hunger strike. He's now off that. But nevertheless, there are lots of people, mass protests, calling for his release. Again, this may be a reason why Mr. Putin may be seeking a distraction from those economic and political pressures at home by if you like, making the case for Russian national interests in neighbouring Ukraine.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Catch us next time on Global Insight. Ka kite anō.